Welcome back to Earth Station Trek, a show where we trek from the early days on NBC to the future on Paramount Plus and everywhere in between. I'm Charles Kelso, and it's my privilege to introduce the Earth Station Trek crew.
Wait. Now go.
Keith Johnson.
How's it going? Technology.
Alan Seiler.
The hills are alive with the sound of murder, and I'm wanked, spanked, and ready to be a diplomat.
And worse lines you could have chosen.
Yes, and Veronica Dashel.
Hi.
And before we get into it this week, Alan, we've got some news you were just reminding me about.
This week, our 250th episode.
That's right.
Holy cow.
Can you believe that?
250 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. I can't believe people have put up with us for this long.
This country.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, everybody.
We can do a birthday for the U.S. and yeah, big deal.
Yeah. Congratulations to everybody.
Yay for us.
We all did it.
Right.
Thanks for all the people who have listened.
Keith, are you like
have to do some kind of
not hearing us in time or something? I don't know.
Hear
anyway.
Me?
Yes.
So anyway, I was just saying thank you to everybody who has listened to us for this long. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
and boy, have we had fun over 250 episodes.
I know. We were just talking about this a couple weeks ago because we hit our 5-year mark.
Yeah.
About what a milestone it is for us. And
yeah,
I'm happy to keep doing it. Here's to 250 more.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Well, Keith, did you have some This Week in Trek this week?
Yeah, not a whole lot. So, and you guys can hear me okay, right?
Yeah, I think we've done a little bit of lag.
Yeah, there's something weird going on here. My company, well, long story short, I got a computer upgrade. I work in IT, so who do I yell at? Just actually a couple this week. One of my favorites, the 9th of February, 1967, was the debut on NBC of The Return of the Archons. We've been talking about computers and so forth. This is the great episode with Landru, and the one where the first example of what then became called the Purge movies, where the computer, for some interesting reason, thought it was a good idea to let the populace literally go buck wild every now and then control them the rest of the time. Interesting episode.
With all these AI companies out there, I'm surprised they like to use sci-fi type names. I'm surprised no one's used Landru or Vol.
Oh, wow. Festival. It's a good episode. Of course, it's famous because it's one of several episodes where Kirk talks a computer into blowing up. He gets it into a logical loop. And then back in the day, they always assumed that if the computer couldn't figure out what to do, it would blow up instead of just shutting down or something. Great episode. And exactly 1 year after that was another, it's an interesting episode. It was the debut of the Star Trek original series episode, Return to Tomorrow.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one. And Veronica, I think you know that one? It's the one that introduced Sargon, the planet that had devastated itself with basically a mental war, and Kirk and Spock and what was the lady's name? I'm blanking. They were all replaced. They all got their minds taken over by these super powerful beings, and Spock turned evil. Yeah, great episode. Good time for Leonard Nimoy to stretch. That was a good one. Okay, jumping forward 30 years, this is monumental, especially given last week's episode. The 11th of February, 1998 was the debut of the Deep Space Nine episode, Far Beyond the Stars.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah, one of the absolute best.
It's all right.
If Elaine is watching, we won't spoil more than you got spoiled last week, Elaine, but it was the one that, let's just say, went into the 20th century. One thing I heard, wouldn't surprise you, but Avery Brooks directed that episode, and all the cast said that, Elaine, again, not super spoilers, there's a breakdown scene for Sisko's character, and they said that Avery Brooks couldn't come out of that for quite a while. He's that kind of actor. So when he went into it, and it both being as the director and the principal actor, it really messed him up for a while. So
wow.
I just want to say about that really quickly, that when a cast member directs an episode, many times it's an episode that cast member isn't in a lot of, so that they are mostly behind. But Avery
Yeah.
Brooks directed this episode. He is in every single scene.
Wow.
There is no scene that doesn't have him in it. So that is a tough job to be directing your fellow actors when you are acting in every scene with them.
Wow. I didn't even think about that, Alan. Then he also directed every single cast member. I mean, everybody is in that episode. So
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of work. All right. Let's jump back in time by almost 10 years for another seminal episode of the original series. On the 13th of Feb, 1989 was the debut of the TNG episode, The Measure of a Man.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Yeah. These are episodes, the themes and memes continue. What is life? The whole episode with Data, was he human or not? Of course, what they did to Bruce Maddox later on, I thought was wrong, but very, very, very episode. Always on
It doesn't count. It was a different actor.
Right. And the last thing I got on Valentine's Day, 1967, after they ran over for a day and a half, final day of filming for City on the Edge of Forever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Apparently, this is a good week for Star Trek.
Right. That's for sure.
A lot of really good stuff happened this week.
That's a great episode for your Valentine's Day date.
Right.
I love you, honey, but you got to die, right?
I don't make the rules. All right. Want to grab a few comments before we get into this week's episode?
Welcome.
Oh, well, our buddy Bill says, doesn't Avery Brooks teach now? Yes, he's been an acting professor for quite a while now. He says,
acting or music?
Both.
Acting. Well, he's done both.
Yeah.
He says, if he does, I wonder if he tells his classes, never do what I did.
He's a professor. Well, he was a professor of music at Rutgers in addition to an acting teacher.
Yep.
I don't know what he does now.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be pushing 80.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's how active he is, or if he sort of has stepped away from the public eye, which I mean, sure. I mean, more power to him. He certainly has got his share of it.
Man, I can't imagine him being 80.
I know. It's just
holy cow.
Right.
Yeah.
God, he's timeless. What age has no meaning.
Right.
And Elaine says something about overtones of creamy flatworms. That's funny.
Yeah.
I should have thought of one of those quotes for my intro. And Bill says teaching is a great way to stay active in old age. That's very true.
Very
Good point.
true.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this week we're going to be talking about the 6th episode of Starfleet Academy, Come Let's Away. So spoilers for that episode if you've not seen it yet.
Beep boop.
Yeah. So Veronica, before we got on, I asked you what you thought of it, and you were non-committal. Have you committed?
I mean, on one hand, it's a good Star Trek-y story. On the other hand, I don't exactly like the ending.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you okay? Are you mad about deaths or
Deaths.
Oh, I got you. Okay. That's true. You don't like deaths of characters.
No, especially semi-main characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was progressing to be a main character. But I realized as I was watching again, there was foreshadowing to that at the beginning of the episode.
Mm-hmm. He quoted Spock's death line.
Oh, I forgot. That I didn't catch. So he that was one of my notes was he dropped a Spock quote and didn't call out Spock. But earlier he was the one that they chose to be the first one out of the airlock.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That was almost as obvious as rugged older instructor you've never seen before who can't wait to go on shore leave.
Yep.
I kept expecting that guy to be like, and this is my last mission before retirement.
Exactly.
Like, that guy's never coming back.
Oh man.
For a while I was really worried for Kyle.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about Kyle.
I was too.
I was in the bed going, no, Kyle, not Kyle.
Yep.
It's kind of the fun thing about having these War Academy kids, because like you like them okay, you don't mind if they get killed off, but there's a few extra people around they can kill off. You know, I was surprised that the Romulan girl wasn't there.
Yeah,
I was thinking the same thing.
like she wasn't in. She was like in the final scene at the end.
Mm.
Like,
she was?
but you didn't even see her face. She was the first one that like walked past Bobby's body under the cover.
Oh.
Before Kyle went up and put the comic on him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that was her anyway. It looked like her.
Yeah. This episode made me think of Q Who. Like this could be Starfleet Academy's Q Who, because you've got the recurring antagonist who's on the ship and sort of playing games with the crew, and also you've got this new monster species that we don't really know about, and they're kind of mysterious. I thought the setup was kind of similar, not in a rip-offy way, but just that I think it's fulfilling a lot of the same objectives as Q Who did. And I guess it really depends on where these Furies go from here, because like the Borg obviously would have been a cool one-off in just Q Who, but it was really Best of Both Worlds that really cemented them as the icon they are.
But here's the thing, though. I feel like you got a much better sense of the Borg's threat in that episode than we did of the Furies in this one. Because so much of the focus was on Nus Braka.
Yeah. I mean, you had that to an extent in Q Who too, because you had a lot of the focus on Q.
A bit, yes, that's true.
But we actually didn't fear death quite so much from Q.
Okay.
At least for me.
Yeah. But I do think the Borg were better defined in their first episode than the Furies were here.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I liked it. I thought it was fun.
But that's kind of what they're doing with the Furies. They're not defining them, which I think is kind of cool, even to the point of blurring their faces, so we don't even know what they really look like. And that's kind of a cool approach.
Yeah, and I do have questions about them. I'd like to know more about why are they all phasey? Why are they compelled to eat flesh? Why are they in such pain? Like, I got questions.
Me too, because they are described as a hybrid between human and alien. What alien? Any alien? A specific alien? If it's a specific alien, then what alien? Do we know? Maybe we don't know. And if they're a true hybrid between these two things, how and why? Yeah, there's a lot of territory that we can explore with this.
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool if they're a hybrid with some species that doesn't really exist in our dimension or something like that. Where that's why they're in such pain. They're phasing back and forth. There's some cool stuff they could do with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the way that they were portraying them looked familiar. And Elaine had a comment about that, and I was like, oh, maybe that's it. But no, because it was like the going in and out of focus, the shimmering, and like they were not totally part of this dimension.
Yeah. Is this the comment you're talking about?
Yeah.
The noises the Furies make remind me of the silence in Doctor Who.
Okay.
Yep.
So maybe that's what was triggering my, hey, this is a familiar thing, but I don't know why.
Yeah, but it's kind of an effect they'll do for like demon characters and things like that in low budget horror movies, is the they get herky jerky.
Yeah.
Yes. And so there's been a lot of comparisons made between them and the Reavers.
Yes.
Which is from a different, not Doctor Who, not Star Trek, a different sci-fi franchise. But there is a precursor to these Furies from a 90s Star Trek novel.
The series of novels.
A series, yes, because back in the 90s, there was this like fad where they would do these 4-part novels that tied the original series, Next Gen, Voyager, and DS9 into one overarching storyline that would cross over 4 novels.
Right.
And one of those was called Star Trek Invasion. And there was an alien threat from outside our dimension called the Furies. And they sort of took on lots of different forms and were so evil that they were essentially the inspiration for different devil/demonic mythological characters in different cultures.
Right.
So we'll have to see if that's maybe where they're going with this, if this is a pickup from that, or if it's just like a total coincidence that it's the same name. No idea.
It could be they just thought the name was cool, but I loved those books. And I've said before, I thought that like when they had multiple shows going in different time frames, they should have done something like that as a crossover, is a storyline that would thread through all of them.
Absolutely.
They did not. But no, I mean, I'd be fine if because the Furies in the books were cool because, like you said, they were this ancient species that sort of passed into legend on various planets, and so they would look similar to various legends of things that they inspired. But they weren't Reavers, though. Keith, what did you think? You haven't said anything in a while.
I thought it was good, and I will say about this episode what I've been able to say about every episode. I have nitpicks and critiques, but not criticisms. I thought it was a good, solid episode, and I have a couple of things about some of the plotting I did write. We'll get to this. I did write the command staff better do a better job of training these people for the real world, because I'm not impressed with the command staff performance.
Okay.
But I thought it was good. And one thing they did, because when you see something like this, like you guys were talking about the foreshadowing. Well, I kept writing in my notes the question of, is this a part of the simulation?
I was thinking that as well for a bit.
Yeah. But then when they like started chewing on the guy, I was like, well, I don't think this is a simulation. And then when they actually killed the guy, I go, oh, heck, this is not a simulation. So I thought that was cool, because you always sometimes wonder if they're faking when they do something like that.
Yeah, they've done that before.
Yeah, but I thought it was good.
I would not put it past Starfleet to play holodeck mind games with cadets. And that might actually be a cool thing for an episode if they were playing holodeck mind games with cadets, and then the holodeck malfunctions and they really do lose control of the situation. That would be actually somebody write that down.
Yeah,
they kind of did that on Orville.
Okay.
In season 1, and it was a phenomenal episode.
Okay.
And Star Trek and TNG, remember when Wesley Crusher went to take the Academy exams, and they faked the whole explosion, and they did the thing where they would test each cadet by whatever might be the thing you fear most, and because his dad died in some kind of away mission, they crafted. So that was kind of interesting. It also kind of sort of reminded me of the TNG episode. Well, not quite the same. Remember Peak Performance? The one where they did the war games and then the Ferengi showed up, and it reminded me of that. So I thought it was good. As always, it looked great. It was well shot. And every time I have a little something where I write in my notes, I wouldn't have done that, or I don't know if I buy this. This is never like, I don't like this. I am frankly impressed with the series so far. Yeah, it was a very solid episode.
And I like that. I mean, we haven't seen a lot of footage of them in class or studying for exams and things, but it seems like every week it's something sort of like debate club is this week, and this time it's, we saw this week that they went out, they have this designated ship that's a relic that they take cadets out to do field maneuvers on, and thinking it's going to be safe, and obviously this time it was not. But I kind of like that. I like that they got out into space this week, and I like that we're seeing these characters continue to grow.
Yes. One thing I did put in my notes is I said on the very first the debut episode of the series is they got to do a better job of going out into space with these cadets on training missions, because I know it's dangerous out there, but look, something's going on. Either don't leave the solar system or go out in space with an armada, because this is the second time they've basically been caught by somebody, and they can say we're not ready for it, but these are dangerous times. So if you're going to do this and you're not going to some area where you're on standard shipping lanes where this shouldn't be able to happen, you need an armada with the ship. It needs to be a convoy, because this is not cool.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea to tow that derelict ship to the Sol system and
in
the asteroid field.
Right.
Yeah. This is twice now. That's and then one thing I say they've done about the show in some ways, I'm not going to say better than Discovery, but as well, is I kind of got comfortable in forgetting about the burn, whether one likes the burn or not. Charles, I think you had pointed that out too. I was like, I don't think I comprehended how bad the universe actually could be after the burn.
Yeah.
And they're doing a decent job of showing you it's a really dangerous galaxy out there.
Well, especially after spending a few weeks on Earth. And you sort of forget this isn't the Federation of old. Like it's a lot more dangerous out there.
Yeah.
Right.
But no, I thought this was a fun one. I had a good time with this one. It was a little noticeable that they sort of covered the Strange New World sets in garbage bags, or what looked like garbage bags, to be the derelict ship.
I did not even notice that.
Okay,
I did not pick up on that.
I was wondering what the hell that was.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, instead of like repainting anything, it's like they had black something over the wall.
I was like, this is the goofiest thing I've ever seen.
Right.
I really agree with you guys.
Why
Now,
would they put black bags over stuff on a derelict ship? Just like leave it derelict.
Yeah, I mean, I presume it's not actually black trash bags, but
right.
And who knows how it wound up. I mean, maybe this is a part of them modifying it to be a reusable Academy thing. This
maybe.
extra lining of stuff. I'll accept that. I like it better than what they did on Discovery when they reused the Strange New World sets and they just called it the Mirror Enterprise, even though it was the Strange New Worlds era, and that makes no sense whatsoever. So at least here, I mean, it's an old Star Trek tradition to just reuse sets willy nilly, but it's a little more noticeable, I think, when it's 900 years apart in the timeline. instead of just like using the movie era stuff 75 years later on next gen, right? So,
Yeah.
but I mean, it makes sense that they're gonna reuse that. They've got a starship set next door. It makes sense that they're gonna go over there and use it.
Since you brought it up, I think I just want to mention really quickly that I think it's cool that Discovery got another name check this week. So we know that Discovery is still out there and active.
Discovery's
So
got
that's kind of cool.
Finale, right?
What's that?
Like, Discovery's got to show up in the finale or something, right? It's
That's
gotta,
what I keep
like,
thinking.
pull a Captain
Yes.
Riker at the end.
Yes.
Yes.
That's
Right.
what
Yeah.
I keep thinking.
Yeah.
It's
You know what
gotta
it reminds
happen.
me of? They keep talking about, to what you said, Alan. They keep talking about how they have to come up with an excuse for why Discovery literally doesn't just pop in and save the day. And it's starting to remind me of what's going on with movies. Remember when we got cell phones and back in the old days, somebody could just cut the line.
Right.
So now in horror movies, they always got to come up. Everybody goes, "Oh no, cell service." I mean, and so they every time that happens, they have to say why the Discovery can't just show up
Yeah.
and save them.
Yeah.
Yep.
So real quick about the trash bags inside. Now you guys, I'm thinking about it. Was that Federation design? Because the Furies weren't on the ship earlier, right? And come back to hide. Did they do that, or was that the design of the ship?
I mean, I would assume that that's supposed to be that way because when they got when they walked in, like that old commander guy didn't go, "Hey, what's up with all these black trash bags on the wall?" That's a sign of the Furies, you know. Right before my retirement party. I would
That was
presume
funny.
I'm just gonna go with that. That's something that Starfleet did because they're reusing this thing as a training vessel.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Yeah. I mean, and this is the fourth time. I think they said fourth time that they've done this exercise. And so it would be recognizable if that was a new addition by somebody else. I mean, so it's obviously looked like this for this whole time that they've been doing these things.
Yeah.
Nitpick. This is me.
Uh-oh.
Nitpick.
What? From Keith? A nitpick?
A plot nitpick. As someone who works in IT, I will tell you that if I was doing a test vessel like that or a test ship like that, before I would turn that over to cadets, I would have made sure that ship could be turned on fully, the computer was fully working, and that the power could be turned on. Then I'd put it back in the original state. Because when they were like trying to get the computer online and it hadn't been online for 125 years, I kept thinking, you know, Starfleet, if y'all had made sure the computer was working, then you can always turn it back off to make them have to turn it back on. Yeah, might have been able to save some lives. That's just me. I wouldn't do that. You typically don't do, in real life, you typically don't do test scenarios where the device you're testing, somebody hasn't, like you make it not work so that people can make it work. I wouldn't have done that, but that bit them in the butt real quick. And
But I do think that sequence was really good for after having a Sam heavy episode last week, we see her revisiting an ability that she has that we saw in the first episode that she actually puts into practice in this episode, where it's part of the problem solving. It's part of getting this ship to work. I still think it's a bit of a cop-out. I think it's a bit of a too superpowery kind of thing, but it had practical application this week in a scenario that you're in danger and you're up against the wall. And I don't know. I thought it was a good use of that character this week.
Hey, jumping back real quick, did anybody else write down life support belts?
Yes,
I didn't write
I was
anything
thinking that
down.
this morning. I don't write anything down either. But yeah, those plasma shields. I was like, yeah, they're like an animated series.
I know. I thought that was so fantastic.
Which I actually love that. If the alternative is space helmets that magically appear around your head and magically disappear, because that drives me up a wall.
Yeah, me too. Dumb.
Yeah.
Another thing that I want to mention that's kind of a small thing, but when we were, even before this series was announced and we were talking about, possible upcoming series, and we were talking about a possible Starfleet Academy series. And I said, what I want to see is an incoming class where people are like, have an idea of what their specialty is going to be. Maybe along the line, somebody decides to change their emphasis, change their major or whatever. But I also want to see a character that kind of discovers that maybe Starfleet isn't for them, and they keep trying to make it for them, and they keep failing. So, and we got a little bit of that with that bridge character who is a cadet who freaked out
Yeah.
because things were going wrong and she didn't know how to process the danger or the unexpectedness or whatever. I want a main character. I wish we had gotten a main character that's going through that so that we can see that as an ongoing exploration, whether it cripples that character into flunking out or if they rise to the challenge to become an officer in spite of their own, whatever.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like it's a shame that it was thrown off onto a one-off character. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
she's been another.
She's been kind of useless since the show
But she's
started.
the one that swallowed her stupid combat.
Yeah, and then she's the one who was yelling red alert" in the first episode of the hallway and panic.
Yeah.
So
I
mean,
feel like she should have been identified before now as not being able, not being. I feel like swallowing the combat thing should be like, you know what? Well, thank you for coming.
That was stupid.
I mean, start there. And
it was nice to have met you.
Right.
That was very stupid, but Alan makes a very good point because I was thinking about, of all things, the movie Officer and a Gentleman when they were training for the Air Force and Navy pilots, I think. And remember, they had a thing called DOR where Lou Goss's character would drop somebody on request, and there was one guy who almost drowned. And one of the things there was like, look, if you don't fit this, you can go do something else, but you can't do this program.
Right.
Yeah. And over the years, like Bread and Circus is the Star Trek episode where Kirk went to the Roman planet. Remember, the guy who was the captain of the ship said he didn't qualify to command the starship. He just couldn't make that cut. So Alan, you make a very good point. If you can't make the academy, where else do you go? And you could still maybe be in Starfleet, but not that part of Starfleet. Yeah.
Couldn't be an officer.
Yeah, or be on a star base or back on Earth doing paperwork.
Yeah, or a non-enlisted personnel. Yeah, anything. There's lots of options.
Filing.
Filing.
Although
like they don't have filing at this point.
I also agree with what you guys are saying because I hated the swallowed combat thing, but I did at least think her losing it there was more realistic.
Oh yeah.
Than anything else they've done with her. Because my gosh,
Yeah, I almost wish it wasn't that goofy character that I had already the whole show. Like Alan said, like somebody who's a little more substantive,
And that's why in the first episode, when it looked like every one of our main student characters had been built up with this amazing ability, I'm like, this is going to be unrealistic. And it's not going to be, and I know that we want the show to focus on the ones who are going to be, the Starfleet officers are always the exceptional cases and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
But I want to see something a little bit more realistic than that. Anyway, let me get a couple of comments here.
Sure.
Matt Sweatman says, mentioning Riker appearing in a finale kind of gives me Enterprise PTSD, though I can imagine him watching this episode, the episode's first scene on a holodeck. But that's a series finale, not just a season finale. So that's a whole different.
He was in a series finale, not season finale of Lower Decks.
True.
Yes. Elaine says, but if they did all that, we wouldn't have had the drama for the episode.
She's probably talking about me talking about the computer and the ship. They have to turn them on.
And she also chimed in by saying that that character was the one who swallowed her comm badge.
Yeah, which is it's all pointy edges.
Right.
Right.
Thank you. How does that even happen? How does it even get there?
Right.
Yeah, that made no sense at all.
Yeah.
Matt says having a regular character freak out like that would probably disqualify them from Starfleet. Yes, but that's what I want to see. I want to see either somebody who can't handle it get drummed out or somebody who learns to handle it.
Yeah. I would like for next week to be her with a bag on her shoulder saying, hey guys, thanks for the chance. You know what I mean? Like, but I think that makes it feel more like we're watching the Elite when people are washing out along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very true.
And our buddy Bill is on his way out because he has his 8:30 family Zoom. So
hey, thanks for joining us, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Bye.
Take care. See you next time. So let's talk about. Oh, do we want to take a break?
Yeah, I want to hit a break real quick, and then we'll come back with something else.
Sure. Let's do that. Here we go.
back. All right.
Yes.
What did you want to get into, Alan?
Well, I want to talk about Tarima.
Okay.
Because we are seeing a little bit more of, that we've been sort of like hinting at things under the surface with her, like that her powers aren't the typical Betazoid powers. Like she sort of exists on a different level than other Betazoids. And we're finally starting to see a little bit of what that is.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. And we get the kind of surprising revelation that it's her fault that her father can't speak. That's really interesting.
And that
that's
was
really
a big
cool.
question that folks, including us, had last time. Why are they not speaking telepathically to each other? Why are they doing the sign language? And I can imagine it's part of her trying to hold back, because at one point she blew out her dad's eardrums and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, she didn't blow out his eardrums because he can hear, he can't speak.
No, he's deaf.
It's his auditory. She blew out his auditory brain circuits. Yeah.
He's deaf.
Okay.
So, are you saying you think they don't do telepathy because only within the family, but all the other Betazoids are still telepathic?
Yeah, because we only saw those few Betazoids.
Yes.
And so there was a question last time because and some of the dialogue indicated that they were empathic, and we were wondering like why aren't they telepathic?
Yeah.
And here we saw that they are. I mean, I like the portrayal of her touching his mind. And her little peaceful place she went to, and then she saw his teddy bear, and he's like, "Don't touch that!" And then all of a sudden, she got a glimpse, and he understandably freaked out. And then she freaked out. I thought I like that whole sequence.
Yes, and I liked that they gave a name to it, and they said, what was it? They can mind touch. Is that what she said?
Mind speak.
Mind speak. That's it.
Yeah,
and I thought that was a really cool term.
Nice,
but I just want to say, man, if this relationship continues by the end of this season, I need her to use the word Imzadi.
Yeah.
I just want to hear it. That's all I want.
Right. One thing I thought was interesting is the Betazoids have never been shown to have offensive telepathy. They're telepathic. Is it Tim Elbrun from Tin Man? Yeah. His powers were not interfering with others. He just had incredible, basically listening. But you know what? It's one of those things, again, I don't have a problem with that because maybe she's a mutant because we've never seen Betazoids be able to use their minds for broadcasting. And I'm okay that she can. And I thought that was very interesting. She's a good actress, and she and Caleb were good together. I did have a note I need to ask Wayne. Is in a regular academy, can you easily sneak off to go have sex with somebody in somebody's room?
I'm sure you can.
Oh, yeah.
Come
on.
But they don't have
I don't know.
So like, where do you hang the sock if there's no doorknob? So his roommates come back in.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Because you'd have to have buy-in from your fellows to do something like that.
Yeah, I gotta hack their transporters or something.
Yeah. I'm going to cross the streams real quick, but when they showed them making love, and I know some people are going to have I know some folks out there will have a problem because it was a little too, it's not Star Trek, blah, blah, blah. But in Babylon 5, there was a character, Talia Winters, who was talking about another telepath that she was in love with. And she asked the commander, she says, do you know what it's like when two telepaths make love? And I'm not saying this because it's goofy. It's actually something it was a kind of a deep thing. She said when two telepaths make love, they don't just physically join. Each person is in the other's mind.
Yeah.
So you feel your pleasure, you feel their pleasure, you think what they're thinking. And so when Caleb and Tarima did that, I was actually thinking that could be a wonderful experience, but also a scary experience. Because if you truly open up,
you're not expecting it.
Exactly. Because think about the things we all hold from everybody, even our own spouses and significant others. Think about when all that just opens up like that. It was actually both cool, and I got it. And I actually got why he freaked out.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. I think
Now, I've got a 3-part comment from Matt. He says, it's an interesting dynamic of their lovers' spat. Caleb's right that she shouldn't invite herself into his mind. She's right that he shouldn't treat it as a weird thing.
Yeah.
More weird ability than weird thing that she wouldn't ask for permission. That is a bit weird. But she also said that she didn't intend to do it.
Right.
So
she didn't. Yeah. She couldn't control it.
She also didn't give him a primer before they started. Say, hey, guess what might happen?
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
And then he says, remember, Deltans have family members dancing around playing tambourines. And I wanted to mention that also because I think it's super interesting that we've seen one Deltan character since what's her name? Persis Kambata was in a movie 100 years ago, and that was in section 31. And in this episode, we got some really interesting details about Deltan society and family structure. And I thought that was unexpected and very cool.
The thing I thought was cool about that her first lover, I guess, was a Deltan, was that like these two are very much inspired by Will and Deanna, right?
Mhm.
They're sort of like a young, new, hip version of them. But Will and Deanna were like a second draft of Decker and Ilea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ilea was Deltan. So there's a little bit of, it seems like there should be some relationship there between Betazoids and Deltans, if no other reason, just the production element of it, that. But I thought that was cool, and I like that they have the goofy thing. But then I also like that they kept with the Deltan sexuality when she was like, "You never guess what else they do."
I
And
know.
Like, I had to whisper this for because the camera can't hear it.
I thought that for some people who say the show is too woke and talks about diversity and all this crap too much, I thought that they did a very nice little job of getting across a very powerful Star Trek message when she just simply said, well, basically, I'm paraphrasing, how human-centric you are. When you ask what your first time was like, that could be so different. And I thought that was just kind of a cool thing, because that could be, like she said, depending on the species. It could be not physical, for that matter. Like Spectra Kolos in by any other, not being by their name. Good Night, the episode with Miranda and the Medusan.
Is there in Truth No Beauty?
Yes, there in Truth No Beauty. So there's different types of ways of making love, and I thought that was very interesting. She just made that, and she just kind of jokes, "Oh, basically, you human." There's so many different ways.
Right.
And the flip side of that is that there's 50 ways to leave your lover.
Oh Lord, don't say that. They might actually find that song and play it in the series.
That's right. I want to talk. We haven't really gotten into the main thing that's going on in this episode, and that's kind of a showdown between Nala Ake and Nus Braka.
Nus Braka.
Nus-
Oh yeah,
Comes out
Nus
today.
right. Nustifer. Oh my God.
Speaking of which, I really like his like little theme music that they have for him. That's really cool.
It's like a
Little circus clown.
Yeah, or like a Jack in the Box kind of.
Yeah.
It has got that kind of carnival kind of feel to it.
Yes. carnival,
Yeah. I thought he was great in this.
Yes.
Because at first, my impression of him was like, he's not really like a Gul Dukat. He's more like a Quark type of character. Because he's worried about the shipping lane. He's worried about selling his Raktaginos. And
yes.
but then when there's a turn, and it's like,
Yes.
oh no, he really is like a Gul Dukat type of a character. Like he sold them out and has orchestrated this entire thing to attack a starbase. I thought it was cool.
I agree. I kind of felt like this episode was a little too noose heavy.
Okay.
Just
I agree.
because I felt like his monologues went on way too long.
Yes.
Now, the first one, it comes around in a later scene where Nala says he's given himself up. And I knew if I let him talk long enough, he would show his hand. So I got that. But then at the end, he didn't, like, he's like calling her.
Yeah.
And that one also went on kind of a long time. And I'm like, oh my God, just move on.
Yeah.
My
And there's a
wife-
bit. Go ahead.
My wife was watching this with me, and I didn't say anything. And after a while, she goes, "What is he talking about?" He's going on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
Question.
It's almost like they're trying to make up for him not being in the last 5
Yes.
episodes by giving him a lot of dialogue
Yes.
this week.
Yeah.
Now, he was physically on the ship at first, right?
Yes.
Okay. So when she said, basically, "I don't have time for you," she walked out and left him in the room by himself.
Yes.
Yep.
That was a stupid move.
Yep.
Unfortunately, nothing happened, but they didn't even have security guards standing there pointing
Yeah.
weapons at him.
Yeah,
I thought that
that's
was
true.
odd.
Yeah.
Very odd.
Yeah. And I thought that it was a little bit too much of them psychoanalyzing each other.
Yes.
But their performances were great.
Yeah.
I love those two playing off of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a long period, especially at the beginning, when she wasn't even saying a word. Like she was
I know.
surprisingly quiet, but
I know.
playing it with her face, and I thought it was very effective.
She was great in those
Yeah.
scenes. I will say that, and I've mentioned this once before, and it really kind of came up again this week, is that the modern day, 21st century jargon that they use just doesn't work for me.
Agreed.
When he calls her his space boo, that does not work for me. That just stop doing that.
Yeah.
Well,
Even
what
some,
about
of the, even
interesting?
some of the curse words were
I was gonna say, what about introducing the word spooge into Star Trek?
Yeah. I just thought that didn't make sense. Again, it's I don't know. I don't know why they do that. I agree with you, Alan. It takes me out of it.
Yeah.
It takes me. I mean, other shows do things like, what is it, Frack and Fel the Carb and all this other weird stuff. It sounds goofy, but at least it seems like it's of their time, whatever time.
Frack doesn't sound goofy. I use that all the time.
Yeah, frack works great.
Frack's a great word.
Yeah.
Whoever came up with that, give them a raise.
Right.
Let me get a couple of comments. Matt wonders if the Federation president in Star Trek VI was a Deltan. Possibly.
No clue.
Who cares?
No clue.
It's Star Trek VI. I don't know.
Efrosion? I think the president.
That's what I was thinking. It's Efrosion. Yes. But I couldn't remember the name.
Yeah.
He also says, I counted how many ways in that song, and it's far fewer than 50. That is true. You can't get that many in. Elaine says, I want to know about Ake's son. I feel like we're definitely going to get more about that.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like she's going to have a heart-to-heart with Caleb about it or something when she goes and talk about something else.
Mm-hmm. Yes, agreed. And then Matt says, I like Nus better in this episode than in the season opener.
I agree.
Yeah. But he had more screen time here. There was a little more time to breathe.
Yeah.
And I know, Alan, I know you bumped up against the run times on a few of these and felt like they dragged a little bit, a few of the episodes this season. I really haven't
this week.
That. Yeah. I kind of like that the episodes have a little room to breathe.
Very intense.
Oh, sure.
Week. Like the entire time, you're just like, oh no, what's going to happen?
But there's
next?
still time to talk. And even like they did the thing, it's almost Discovery-ish where they've got to talk about their feelings for a minute when they're doing the telepathic communication, but at least it's telepathic communication. So you can assume that time isn't moving the same for them. So it's not like, don't worry about those Furies for a minute. Let's talk about our feelings, So I thought it worked much better there. But one thing that jumped out at me at this one was that, from the time we met Caleb, his mother was saying, don't trust Starfleet. And that was his attitude coming to Starfleet. And then this week he had the comments about Starfleet just colonizing and the propaganda, comic books, and that sort of thing. But then 2 Starfleet officers gave their lives for him to survive. And I really want to see him grapple with that in the coming weeks.
Yeah. Also, how cool is it that there's a comic book in the Star Trek universe that became a plot point in this episode? That was so cool.
I like to think that the format of comic books has survived. I kept thinking in this episode though, like, are they selling this comic book? Is this another like Roddenberry selling the Idic? You know what I mean? Is there an ad in this show for a comic that's coming out?
I never thought about that.
So.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I expect to see that comic book on the shelves next week.
Yeah.
Like I will
should have been on there today.
Right.
Could be.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was a little confused about it though, because they talked about the ship being about 125 years old when it became a derelict.
Right.
On the inside, it looks very much like the Strange New Worlds Enterprise with black trash bags over it. But in the comic book, they all have like TOS looking uniforms.
Yes.
So I'm a little. And now they could very well have gone back to that at some point.
Yeah.
But I was just a little confused about the timeline there.
I was too. And at first I thought, oh, wow, this looks totally retro. But I didn't think about it being like Strange New Worlds era and like a cartoon version of the uniforms that they wear. I don't know. I couldn't figure it out either. Yeah. And I was like, that's a strange choice. Why'd they do that?
Yeah,
but it looks cool.
Yeah, it could just be that the Strange New Worlds aesthetic came back in style 125 years ago before the burn.
Yeah.
So I don't have a real problem with it. I was just a little confused about the timeline there. I did think it's really cool that there's some ship we've never heard of that is a big inspirational story that everybody knows, and it's not something that we know. You know what I mean? It's something that has transpired since Legacy Trek to now.
But on the flip side of that, when Nus is in whatever room he's in, Nala's office or wherever it is, and he picks up and plays with a model of the NX-01 from Star Trek Enterprise, that was cool. I loved seeing that. But I do like the fact that this isn't like, one of the ships that we've heard of before that became a plot point. It was just a ship. Mm-hmm. I love it.
Yeah. I wondered, was that ship named for the famous animator? Miyazaki,
Probably.
Miyazaki, I know.
Yeah.
It's not an uncommon name, so it doesn't have to be, but I bet it is.
Yeah.
In universe, maybe not, but in our world, probably so.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. Especially since they have that comic book, which has sort of like an animated style to it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't see that being a far reach at all. Mm-hmm. Okay. Chatty Matt says, characters with traumatic past events being revealed is a running theme in this series so far. Ake, Tarima, and a hint that the Doctor has some unresolved issues.
Yeah. Everybody's got to have a tragic backstory.
Yeah. And he also says, didn't they explain differences in aesthetic differences between Discovery and TOS as being a deliberate retro decision?
Sort of. Because when they had Pike come on Discovery, he made some comment about he didn't like holograms, but they didn't really go a whole lot further further with it than that. And I just best not to think too much about
it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So speaking of Sam and what she could do, how was she hurt and injured? What was the deal?
I think she wasn't, because of all the panic around her, because I thought about this too. Because of all the panic around her, she wasn't thinking about how solid she was. Whereas when they went through her, and for one, they were also like laser tag lasers and not like I'm gonna kill you lasers.
You're talking about when they're playing
the laser tag game.
Yeah.
So what did they hit her with, and what did they hit? Because it looked like a whole. I was looking for the emitter to fall out, but it looks like her whole basically body shifted, but she's not physical. I was curious what they did. How did that happen?
Yeah. I don't know. It disrupted her somehow. So,
So it's a disruptor.
We don't know enough about how their weapons work or how she works to know, but it didn't agree with her, whatever they hit her with.
I will say whatever they use does not punch a hole in people, because Bobby did not have a hole in him.
Okay.
And that was like point blank.
Yeah.
But he didn't have a hole or any like blood or anything.
But we may get more of the technology behind her next week, because she didn't seem fully recovered by the end of this one.
Right.
So I'm hoping that'll play into next week when they're.
Well,
she's got to be a mobile emitter.
But maybe we're back to the next gen days where Worf can have his spine replaced one episode and be back in active duty the next week.
Maybe, but my thought was that because they had Chiwetel Ejiofor do the voice of her makers, right? He's a pretty famous actor, so maybe that was keying up for him to make an appearance. So maybe it could be a visit back to her planet. We could be going there.
The only reason I was wondering is for Sam to function on that ship, which didn't even have power. I mean, she has to have a mobile emitter somewhere floating.
Yeah, she's got to have her own power source.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, the mobile emitter the Doctor had is 300 years old at this point. Like where it came from, like that future is 300 years ago. So they could very well be nano emitters or something along those lines by this point.
Thank goodness they're hidden at least.
Yeah.
Right.
Mac it off of his arm.
Yeah.
Okay, so Matt's telling us that in the novelization of Star Trek VI, the president is Delton.
Wow.
But that has been contradicted in later canon.
Okay.
Interesting.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah. I did think that I liked Nus Braka's name being Nustifer. And on one hand, because my brother's name is Chris. And so I just imagine that when I think of Christopher, I think someone's in trouble. You know what I mean? So I imagine Nus Braka's mom yelling at him when he's in trouble. But also that seemed like a very lower decks name.
Yeah.
It really did.
Bradward and Samanthan.
Yeah.
I wonder if Tawny contributed that in one of her, because she's been doing rewrites on the scripts. They've had her punching up the script. She talked about a lot about that in the last week when she's being interviewed. But I'm curious who came up with Nustifer, because
I bet you that's her.
Feels very lower decks.
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
Now, one thing I didn't care for was, and I like Vance, and I get that he's from sort of a rougher part of the Federation, but there was a scene where he was talking about how he'd just love to beat up Nus Braka.
Yeah.
And then Nus Braka talked about, my dad used to beat me when I was a kid. And he's like, your dad's a lucky guy. I'm like, come on.
I know.
That's
not very funny.
You went a little far with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that just didn't seem to fit to me.
Yeah.
His character.
Interesting. You know what's funny about that, Charles, is given that character then, I did write in my notes, then he shouldn't have gotten fooled as easy as he got fooled by Nus Braka. I hate to go compare. I can't see Kirk get that. They really got caught with their pants down there.
Yeah.
And so and I actually thought, and I like him, but I thought if you're going to make him that kind of character, then he shouldn't have gotten fooled that easily. I mean, even if you don't know what somebody's planning, you should always say, they're planning something. Go on high alert, do this and that.
Yeah. It's kind of like if it was, because he comes across as kind of like, I've said this before, but kind of like a Ferengi type of character, right? Like I think that he's getting underestimated here, because for his plan to work, he had to orchestrate things so that the Starfleet had the idea to go recruit him and know where he was. Like he didn't just show up and suggest it. They had to come up with it on their own. I was thinking about that when I was listening back to it, because during the day I try to listen to it with the audio description on, just to have it playing in the car. But it was like, there was rumors that he had defeated the Furies in this certain sector with a special weapon.
So he clearly planted that a while ago.
And the Veneri Rawl were active in this area, so they would know where to find him. And so there's a lot of like the pieces are there, but that's pretty great. Like I think they just don't expect him to be the chess master.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Next, let him be a sledgehammer.
Yeah. I just agreed.
I don't know. It's the opposite of chess master.
Okay.
Use a sledgehammer to knock all the pieces off.
Yeah, and that's just me. I think that these leaders need to be better at anticipating this. But yeah, I'm nothing else. I'm seriously. They need to go out with a convoy if they go out into space anymore, because they can't be writing letters home like, "Hey, we lost your cadet on it was supposed to be a training mission, but they got killed. Sorry about that." That's gonna be rough.
That's not gonna go over well.
No, it's.
I would have liked to have seen the is it DeZolo? Is that the Romulan girl's name? I would have liked, because she's been palling around with him this whole show, and we never really got a reaction from her to his death.
Yes.
So I would have liked to have seen that.
I mean, it was interesting that the reaction came from Kyle, because obviously they're friends, and obviously they are comrades because they're in the same school and blah blah blah. But DeZolo was the one that seemed closer to him.
Right.
So I don't know. That seems strange, but I was glad that Kyle was in the episode.
Okay.
I was confused about why there wasn't any military academy on the bridge.
I was I don't know.
Yeah.
I was confused about why, when they realized that shit was hitting the fan, they didn't pull the cadets off the bridge and bring the bridge crew back on.
Right.
I was surprised by that also.
Yeah. Because it would have been like, okay, training over, you kids out of here.
Right. And I was very surprised by that, because in a normal situation, that's what you would do.
Yeah, you would think.
But, so it almost made it, like they did it almost intentionally to make the audience think, so maybe this is a simulation. Maybe they are testing their cadets. But no, they weren't. Okay. So that reminds me of something that I really do want to point out, and that is another really strong week for Genesis.
Yeah.
I love her. I want to see more of her. I can't wait to get more into her.
Yeah, I want to see.
That sounds dirty.
I want to see more flaws from her, though, because
sure,
they're still doing that. Genesis got the answer. Genesis is the good leader, and I'm happy for her to be all those things. But no one's perfect all the time, so I want to see the other side of that too.
I feel like that's coming
100%.
based on what she said in on the red carpet with Celia.
Okay. Because I do also want to see her learn to rely on them,
right,
and realize that she doesn't always have the answer.
Right, because this is at least the second time that we have seen Darum defer to her. And he was gunning to be the top dog. He was gunning to be the one that I'm going to be the on the path to be a captain and blah blah blah, and I can't be second place. And okay, so she has more natural talent than him. I don't want to see him always be second place to her. I want not that there needs to be competition between them, but I want him to have his moments also.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Instead, he gave her a fist bump, which is still a thing in the future too.
Right.
That didn't bother me.
Yeah, it's just I know it's just a stylistic quirk of the show that they like to be as contemporary as they are. And I agree with you. I would love more spacey dialogue and them to come up with their own insults and things like that.
Yes, exactly.
Veronica, you said something very interesting, because I had made a note when we talked about the War College. Why were they not more, I guess, involved as like security? And I actually have a question. Is this War College class exactly the same age as a class as these Starfleet cadets? Have they been trained more? Because at one point they every now and then they'll say, well, we're trained for, almost as if they've been. Is it just they've been there the same amount of time in the War College as these new kids are?
Well, they probably have been there a little longer.
I would think so.
I don't know. I mean, even if they've been there the same amount of time, they are also focusing more on strategy and tactics. So they're not learning about alien bugs and spores and stuff like
and
that.
Mythology.
Right. Like, so, while you're in mythology class, I was learning how to withstand torture.
Right.
Yeah.
But on the other side of what Veronica was talking about is that we had a mix of both classes basically
Yeah.
on the away mission, but we didn't have a mix of both classes on the bridge.
Right.
And I thought that was such a strange choice. Like there should have been, some of the
like DeZolo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Ugh.
And why was there only 3 on the bridge, but there was like 6 on the away mission?
I mean, I guess they don't need them as much on the bridge.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I did like that during the away mission, they were just working together. Like they were.
It also seemed like there were going to be
Me
a
too.
rotation. Like there were groups of 6.
Right.
And it
Yeah.
should have been 3
As soon as you fail, the next team's going in.
Right.
Yeah.
But I like that during the mission, it wasn't the teen angsty stuff of like,
Right.
well,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? They just were doing their thing.
What I would
Agreed.
What I would expect to see and like to see at some point is kind of like the Makos and Enterprise, where I kind of like to see the War College do some stuff that shows they specifically have skills that the Starfleet Academy people don't have when it comes to warfare.
I kind of expect that to happen in the finale.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of expect, I don't know, because last year I predicted that we were going to get a 2-part finale and Strange New Worlds, and we did not.
Right.
So I don't know that we're going to get one this year, but I kind of feel like that we might. And I kind of feel like not only will Discovery come rushing in at the end, but I think that we're going to get a lot more of a definition between the 2 colleges in the finale, where specialization is going to come into play in whatever big emergency situation is thrust upon them.
Right.
Yeah. I will say, as a contrast to last week, and this is not a backwards criticism of last week, the War College instructor, making him the butt of jokes last week didn't work for me. That was Tawny Newsom's writing. When he was allowed to, and also making him with his stick up, as you know what, doesn't work for me. But when he was allowed to just act this week, just be the serious guy, I like him so much more, and I believe him so much more as this guy trying to train new, soldiers. I like the character much more this week.
And I liked the relationship between he and Nala more this week too, because there was more of a equal partnership,
right?
Both in the planning and negotiation, and in the way that the mission was presented to the cadets.
Right. And Charles, I think you said a couple of times about, we talked about how Vance was always making decisions. Notice this week he at least said, "Oh, hey, I got to ask the president about that." They at least
I
threw it
was
in there.
delighted to hear that. Oh, good. He's not actually just running the Federation now.
What we don't know from behind the scenes is that he got a strong dressing down for saying, "Hey, why don't we just put the presidency of the whole entire Federation on Beta's head? Let's just do it."
Yeah.
Right.
But no, I like this week. I thought this was a fun one. I like that they're back in space, and I like the Furies tentatively, depending on where they go with them. But I was also pleased that the Furies were something that they weren't just
new.
Yeah, it wasn't like, and this is what happens to the Borg after 1,000 years or something like that.
Right. Thank you. I agree.
And we've been talking for a long time now about how none of them, the modern Star Trek shows, have come up with a big bad, a real, true big bad that equals the Borg or the Cardassians or whatever. And maybe this could be it.
Could be. I'd like more dialogue than
yes,
flesh.
Yes, and more dialogue than But I think they have potential.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Sure.
My final thought when I wrote my notes came away with, how certain phrases are accurate, but the people use them so much the wrong way. You hesitate to use them. I hesitate to say this felt like a Star Trek episode because so many disgruntled fans have been using that as a bludgeon to hate all the new Star Trek. It's not real Star Trek. I hate that. But this felt more comfortable Star Trek to me. But still, it's its own thing. I think what we all talked about when we won at Academy, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I thought that was good.
Yep.
All right.
My one final thought is I am still annoyed with the holograms and how they glitch out. Just so you know, they're a hologram.
Agreed.
When someone's like tapping on your chest, and every time they tap on your chest, you glitch. Like that's not how that works.
No, but it could be a built-in feature so that you always know who you're talking to if they're a hologram.
Yeah,
if holograms are that common. How about that?
You guys notice that Veronica and I have been taking turns criticizing these glitching holograms every week.
I know.
I think it's a prop thing, right?
I know. All right. Well, Alan, where can people find more of you?
CosmicCreative.com. KOZMIC Creative.com. You can find my 2 new books there, the information about the documentary I'm working on, and other podcasts that I am a part of.
And how about you, Keith?
You can find me on Facebook, primarily the ESO Network Facebook groups.
And how about us, Veronica?
FeltNerdy.com.
That's right. And this Sunday we'll be at Velma's Velvet Variety Show in Charleston, South Carolina at the Bearded Axe.
Nice.
Tickets are available now. Grab those if you're in that area because we'd love to see you. And where else can we find us?
Monkeying Around, a podcast about the monkeys.
And do you have a closing for us this week?
Yes. Look at me taking notes and stuff. Now I'm grumpy.
Perfect.
Wait, you had to take notes for that?
I will forget it.
Trust me, she was grumpy before she wrote that down. All right. Thank you. Join us.
Thanks all.
Thursday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern, live on YouTube or after the fact on your favorite podcast platform is Earth Station Trek. Thank you very much.
Thanks
Take
all.
care, y'all.